Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
And now it's time to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Mike.
Hello, you reprobates. My name is Michael. I'm an alcoholic. Good evening. How you doing? Let me hear you say yeah. No. Let me hear you say yeah. I want to welcome everybody. I especially want to welcome all you people at the back. And I want to hear you say yeah. Have you had enough? Have you had enough? I've had enough. Well, welcome to Rodeo, which is, you know, I was driving and I think, why the fuck do they call it Rodeo? I mean, listen, Rodeo is a great tradition, but this is Hillgard. I mean, there are self-esteem issues here. This is Hillgard, right? I mean, I'm a great believer in tradition. And Rodeo, in fact, was the first meeting that I ever came to in June of 1981. And if anybody comes up to me after the meeting and says, Michael, you've been sober longer than I've been alive, I will punch you in the back of the fucking head, okay? You know, you was talking about a bump. Somebody came up to me the other night and went, Michael, beautiful girl, chewing her bottom lip. Remember that? And she says, Michael, do you want a bump? And I thought, what are you talking about, darling? Oh! And I was so shocked that somebody would offer me coke. I mean, it's so far removed from my consciousness, cocaine. And I loved cocaine. Let me hear you say, yeah. I remember when I first came to America, like on the news, they would have these, like there was a bust or something, they'd have these cheesy like drawings of like an addict with a big pile of coke. You remember that in the old days? Clearly not. Okay, good. How does this suit look like with this backdrop? Is it all right? You know, today I can be narcissistic today because I own my narcissism today. My narcissism does not rule me. I own my narcissism. Can you imagine? I'm like a recovering egomaniac, kind of, you know. But it's all right. You know why? Because I'm so fucking grateful. I'm so grateful. And I'm so happy to be with you tonight. I swear to you. I love every single person in this room, because if I didn't, I'd go kill myself. And you wouldn't want me to do that now, would you? Only an ex-waitress of the Rainbow could heckle me, okay? I've been heckled by the best, baby, you know. And I love it, and I love you so. You know how much I love you. I've known you since 1920... 26. That's when I was the singer with the Harry James Orchestra. I don't know if you remember that. I did ballads and wore suits. Anyway, No, I'm delighted to be here. You know, Rodeo literally was the first meeting that I ever came to. I'll tell you what I was wearing. Things really don't change. I mean, one's nature stays pretty much the same. I was wearing a silver jumpsuit. And I was wearing chick boots, as Melanie would describe them. Platform boots, spectacular yellow platform boots, which I believe, and green satin pants, like Noah. My dear friend Noah is here. Give Noah a big round of applause. He's got 5 months. And it proves you can wear skin-tight green satin and stay sober. Thank you, good night. You can do anything you want to do if you do it with love. Right? It's all about love, isn't it? At the end of the day, everybody wants somebody. I want you. I want you to love me. You know, not in that desperate sort of need for attention love. I mean, yes, there's a bit of that, of course there is. But at the end of the day, what I've learned of late, and I must tell you, the last 3 weeks of my sobriety have been, you know, some of the most extraordinary 3 weeks that I've spent, because this is my 3rd meeting today. 3rd meeting today. And I've heard shit today from newcomers that was so inspiring, and that's the essence of this program, really. I mean, I'll talk about my shit, but I just want to tell you how thrilled and excited I am to be able for somebody to ask me to come and share what I have, you know, is an amazing thing, which I don't minimize. It's an amazing feeling to be able to be asked to come and speak at an AA meeting. I mean, you've heard it all before. I try and avoid the cliches, you know. But the facts are that it is an honor and a privilege to speak at an AA meeting, right? Yeah. You know, and it is what a wonderful gift we've been given, where we can come to a room full of people who care enough about themselves to find out who that self is. Okay. So my sobriety has been, I can boil it down really to one thing, and that is finding out, it's identity for me. It's an identity thing. I've lived a very superficial life. I think the main thing that I've had to work on is all of the different characters that I have created through which to relate to y'all. I've got only 7 left. And I've had many, many, many personas through which I could make you, I don't know, love me, I guess. I was born in Africa. No, I was born in England. I was born in the south coast of England in 1948. That's right, I'm 58 years old. That's right. Thank you very much. The Big Book and wheatgrass is the answer. My concept of well-being is coffee at this stage of the game. I was a war baby. The end of the Second World War, there was a lot of fucking because a lot of people died. And I was a product of that. My mother was, oh, by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day. I mean, the irony of speaking at an AA meeting on St. Patrick's Day is somewhat akin to making a movie about our founder, Bill W., as portrayed by Iggy Pop. Jonesy. Or Jonesy, indeed. I think Jonesy would make a spectacular Bill W. God knows he's good with newcomers. You know, thank you! Newcomers. It's the lifeblood of this program, isn't it? It is for me. I mean, that's why this last 3 weeks have been so wonderful, because I've been hanging out with a newcomer with no nefarious agenda whatsoever. And it's kept me coming back. Anyway, England. So, my mother, teenage prostitute, Irish. Stripper, singer. Thought she was Billie Holiday. She was not. I didn't really know her that well. My father was a blue-blooded French aristocrat. Fucked her once. It's true. At least it's true in the myth that I've surrounded myself with. Because a lot of my childhood I do not remember. Because they both disappeared when I was a few days old. And I was raised until I was 8 years old by my mother's sort of nefarious friends, which was sort of the underbelly of London at the time. Dancers. Let's call them dancers. My father, very wealthy man, when I was born, put me down for these schools in England. Boarding schools. At 8 years old, I went to this boarding school on the south coast of England. This is the cruelest, saddest, tragic institution. It's got that dreadful, elitist, British class system thing going on. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I found myself having to adapt to this very conservative world, which I didn't relate to at all and felt so disassociated from, because in the early years of my life I saw a lot of stuff, a lot of decadent behavior, of which I was the victim of. Victim, it's not really, I don't want to use that word, it's such a hot button word, it wasn't that. But I was subjected to a certain amount of abuse. Then when I got to fucking boarding school, and it's all boys jerking each other off playing cricket, I thought, oh, man, you know, this is not my world, you know. But I adapted to it. You know what I'm talking about. As I always say, you got to start somewhere, you know. I actually loved cricket. You know what I loved? I loved being an institute. I loved the discipline of it, because God knows I'd lived this ridiculous life up to then. And you know, now I'm 8 years old and I'm on the platform and it's all very Charles Dickens, and I've got my little bag, my number on it. L49 was my number. And I liked it. I liked having a number. I mean, I liked it because it was some structure. I mean, it was just, but now I'm in this structured thing, and I adapted it really good. I was very academic. I didn't go home in the vacation period. So I was at this magnificent sort of building, just me and the library, because there was nowhere to go back to. Me, Dad was in jail by then for embezzlement and fraud and had lost everything. But because I'd been, you know, he paid for my education when I was 1 year old. It's a thing in England. He went to these schools, you know, this tradition. So I spent a lot of time alone, reading and filling my mind with the great writers, great literature. And at 16, and I really didn't drink, and I wasn't exposed to drugs at all. At 16, I left these schools and wanted to become an actor. And I was very lucky, you know. I started to work very quickly. And remember, this is England in 65, 66, 67, and London, as you can imagine, in the late 60s, was all crushed velvet and hashish. I've never been so fucked up as I have been on hashish. Because I would eat it. And I'm so greedy, and I wouldn't get off. It takes a while to get off. So for an hour, I'd be going, well, so I'd eat more. And then suddenly I'd be in Nazi Germany, you know, fucking. You know, I loved all of that hashish because I bought into that myth, you know, the myth of the artist, the self-destructive artist. That's what I bought, hook, line, and sinker, absolutely, you know. And there are a lot of role models you can choose from, a lot of role models, you know, with Lord Byron to Keith Richards. You know, it's all, you know. And it's so interesting what you choose to represent. Again, it's this thing about identity. Who am I choosing? Who am I choosing to emulate? You know, why on earth would I choose role models that were self-destructive, brilliant men and women? I mean, what made me do that? I often, you know, the thing is that at the time, you know, there wasn't the social awareness of what drugs and alcohol can do to you. It was almost new territory in the 60s because, you know, the times were of revolution and change and provocation and anarchy and you know, new experiences. The revolution failed miserably, let me tell you. And actually, speaking of revolution, I believe that what you guys are doing is a revolutionary act, because the norm, of course, is to fuel yourself with things that will give you a sense of identity and give you whatever you need to get through the day and night, you know. And I bought into that hook, line, and sinker. And in London at that time, it was so prevalent and so extraordinary, and it was the birth of so much. And you know, I bought it, you know, and I paid for it too. Had a great time. Had a fantastic time. Had a spectacular wardrobe. And, you know, this is when boys, you know, wore dresses and eyeliner, you know. I mean, and I loved that whole androgyne thing. I loved it. I loved that. I loved it. I think it all stems from the fact that, you know, wherever I went, I had to be the strangest or the coolest or the you know what, or the most stoned. You know that feeling? You know, the ego that you choose, the character that you choose, I had to be the most stoned person in the room, otherwise I had no self-esteem at all. You know what I mean? You know, the most, the biggest, the best, the loudest, the most ridiculous boots. You know? Because then I knew I would provoke, and then people would go, "Why, he's strange, he's interesting. I want to fuck him, he's interesting." You know, or whatever. And really, at that stage of the game, that's all it was. And promiscuity, you know, to me was just, for Christ's sake, would you love me? God, you know, I'll be anything you want me to be, just fuck me. I mean, in a sense, I mean, anybody relate? Now the girls. You know, come on. I mean, you know, this is, and what is it? Lack of self-esteem. What is it? An absolute... You absolutely don't know who you are, so you figure then if you're attractive, then you are something, you know. And it's been my God, you know, it's been a constant battle, that, you know, the validation from y'all, you know. And I needed it, because I'd never had that familial thing. I'd never had it. It's the reason I don't like animals. I mean, you know, forgive me, because I know there are a lot of pet lovers in the audience. Because you know why? I realized this the other day. You know, I walked into somebody's house and there was the kids and the dog and the fire and the thing, and I thought, God, I hate this dog. Would you stop humping my leg? I'm not that desperate. And I realized that it's because it's a symbol of domesticity in a way, you know? You know, it represents family, which I never had. So that's why I don't like dogs and cats. So anyway, got fucked up, came to America, joined a rock and roll band, met the world's most famous groupie, married her, who I love to this day, let me tell you. There's a lot of people in this room know her, incredible woman. Let me cut to this one thing, though. This last year has been pretty wild because, for me, very hard, very challenging. Just to say this, she developed breast cancer, which I guess is a rite of passage for women today in some mad way. But it shocked me so much, and it woke me up. And I needed waking. I needed to be woken up. And I saw the way she dealt with it, and it was very, very inspiring to me. Our son, who also some of you guys know, a beautiful boy, but had, shall we say, a psychological problem in his life. And as a result of this with his mother, this is just the last year, shut down completely, went into his room and didn't leave it. Which brings us to meds. Because he was there for a year and a half, got him on meds, and within 3 weeks he opened that door and looked around, and is now in Tokyo working for a video game magazine. His life is changed. Now, I'm not here to espouse medication for any of you. I'm just sharing my experience. In fact, I'm not here to give you any advice, counsel, knowledge, any of that. I'm simply here to share my experience with you and let you know that tonight is the greatest night of my life.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
You know why? Because it's the only night I've got. Isn't it? If I waste this moment by thinking about what I did yesterday, or I think about what I'm going to do tomorrow, to me it's a crime in a sense. Because here I am, and here you are, you beautiful people in here, my brothers and sisters. This is where I have to be. This is where I want to be. I don't come here because I have to come here. Alan asked me to come. I was overjoyed to come. The main conflict for me was not preparing to entertain you. I want to say that I have tremendous enthusiasm for Alcoholics Anonymous. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I relish going to meetings. And let me say this. This is the best meeting in the city, right? But there's also a meeting at 9 a.m. on Moore Park and Whitsett in the San Fernando Valley, which is also the best meeting in the city. There's a meeting at 10 a.m. on Vine and Fountain, which is also the best meeting in the city. There's a meeting at the Palisades on Thursday, etc. I do not subscribe to that sort of, because that judgmental elitism which says our meeting is the best meeting. There are no bad meetings for me today. There are no bad speakers. The possible exception of yourself, myself. Everybody, all of you have earned the right to divine abundance and certainly to be able to share and participate in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Every one of you. I don't care whether you got 20 minutes. You've made a choice, a brave one, a courageous one, a choice that's going to change your lives, change my life. Okay. Before I got sober, I was asleep, in a trance, in a coma, fucking robot, a victim of my own creation. when I came to Rodeo in June of '81, I woke up. I woke up. And that's the difference, guys. That's the difference for me. It's very simple. I mean, I can easily get here, stand here and over-intellectualize this whole thing, but it really boils down to very, very simple principles, and that is, you know, be here, be present. And feel God in this room. Feel the power of it. The beautiful power. It's not a scary power. It's not something you have to pay homage to or be punished by. There's one line in the 12 steps that's underlined, and it appears twice. And it is God as we understand him. I understand him to be here right now. I also understand him to be in the fucking checkout line at Ralph's. And he's also on the 405. And he's also in a bad television program, probably starring me. He's everywhere. If God is anything, he's all and everything. But, that said, to be able to come to a room of Alcoholics Anonymous, of which there are no bad meetings or bad speakers, is a tremendous gift. A tremendous gift. I mean, I know when I wake up and I'm riddled with whatever I happen to be riddled with that morning, depression. Should we talk about depression for a minute? I mean, listen, it was so funny the other day, somebody, you know, there's a tremendous melancholy going around, isn't there? A tremendous sadness. People are lost. People don't have tools. We have tools, don't we? We have tools. We have them and we have them. And we have each other. So we can work through that depression. Somebody called me about an hour ago and said, you know, I need to be validated by men. I need this. This is a girl talking. And I can't be alone. And for a long time I've been thinking about the idea of what, you know, the difference between alone and lonely. And how being alone can be so rewarding, something I learned of him. That you can be on your own and you can sustain yourself. My enemy is not an external thing. The greatest enemy is what? Saddam Hussein. That mother... My greatest enemy is... So then, okay, now what do we do? Now I have to find out, well, how do I love that little bastard? How do I embrace that bastard's defects, that manipulative, lying man, that cheat, that liar? I used to think that was an accomplishment, you know? Getting away with stuff, yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know until I got sober. I didn't know. I couldn't spell humility before I got sober. I didn't know what resentments were. I didn't know what gratitude was. I didn't know what service was. I lived a completely amoral life. Now, the idea is this, for me anyway, is to understand my defects, uncover them for the newcomer, discover them, and discard them. That is really a monumental notion. Because if you keep it as an abstraction, and you are lonely, and you're in your room, and you're in your fucking closet, and you're in a fetal position, and you think there are aliens outside, something's up. And I know so many people that have genuinely felt that they were under assault from some mythical enemy. I was never one of them, actually. But But nonetheless, I was in a fetal position. I just wouldn't let anybody see me in a fetal position, unless I was very close. So the idea for me then has been to understand the defects in myself so I can see the defects in you, right? Make sense? If I can identify what the fuck is going on with me, embrace it, work on it, then I have the ability in the room to be able to see it in you. Now, this is done very simply. Again, I don't want to go off on tangents. I'm desperately trying to stay focused so I can say something that I need to hear, really, at the end of the day. That's what this is all about. I'm not a proselytizer of AA. This is not a lecture. This is, really me and you having a psychic conversation about this stuff. I see in everyone myself. And the old adage about when you are uncomfortable with someone, that strange irrational hatred of somebody you don't even know? You know that feeling? It's an energy, it's a vibe. Those are the people I'm going to go to. Those are the people I'm going to go to. It's easy to love the lovable, isn't it? But if I see that, what is it? Of course it reminds me of me. Of course it does. Of course it does. It reminds me of my defect of character. Now, I've learned that through the steps. I cannot stress enough to all of you, I don't care if you've got 80 years or 8 minutes, it's simple. And Denise said it very articulately. Have you had enough? No. She said the 4 things. You know them. Sponsorship. Find somebody that has an energy about them that you respond to, that there's something about that person, and glue yourself to that person. At any stage of your sobriety. Because it is a program of attraction. Now, newcomers also, I think, it is important to know that by gluing yourself to a sponsor, you're really it's a reciprocal relationship. It's not teacher-student. The person that you find attractive, that relates to you, is benefiting from that also. So don't feel unworthy of asking somebody. You're doing somebody a fucking favor. Make sense? You're doing somebody a favor. And it's a beautiful thing to see that relationship. Because when you get into sponsorship, it's that wonderful St. Francis prayer. It's make me a channel. So when you are involved in that relationship as a sponsor, you will say things that surprise and delight you as much as the recipient of that information. It's not an egoic thing. It's not your ego giving this. It's not you got this tremendous sus and you know exactly what's happening and you're sharing that. That's not it at all. It's a divine process, man. It's a divine process. It's my definition of a higher power, those relationships. And you sit down and you go through the steps. It's discipline. Discipline is great. Discipline I've always needed. I begged for it. I never had it. I'm not talking about the obvious sort of sense of discipline. I'm saying that to be given a task, and this I think is a very alcoholic trait. Left to our own devices, we're a bunch of schmucks. Lazy. And lazy really means scared. Laziness is fear. Laziness, I can't get off the couch. He's lazy. No. Can't get off the couch. Can't move. Paralyzed with fear and anxiety. How do you get around that? Contrary action, right? Very, very clear. Get off the couch, go for a walk. Simple as that. I mean, and it is easily said, you're in bed in the sheets and you're watching some terrible television and you have your chocolate almonds here and your fucking diet Dr. Pepper over there, whatever. And you're looking at that bottle of NyQuil going, yeah, I got a cold. I'm ill. Very fucking ill. I'm going to have a shot of this NyQuil and some ginger, and that's it. I'll be fine. And that dark night of the soul, man, that dark night of the soul, and oh Jesus, you know, it's a nightmare. She left me, he left me, you know, I got fired, I'm a schmuck, my jeans don't fit, I'm fat. God, I used to be able to get into those jeans. I was so sexy in those jeans. Now look. Now I'm a fat fuck with cookies and chocolate almonds and Brad Pitt. Well, there's a way out of that nightmare. And it's to pick up the goddamn phone and call somebody. And you know what? People are delighted when you call them. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to pick up the phone. People love it. People love it. They feel worthy. My God, you want my advice? You know, you want to talk to me? That's what they're thinking. They don't say that. They go, yeah, well, listen. And they launch into some wonderful, and it doesn't even have to be, you know, enlightening. It's contact. And what is this all about? It's about connection. We cannot sit isolated in our seats here. You know, I mean, I started to go to this gospel church. Man, it's like the Academy Awards with that hip-hop band, you know. I mean, they got excited. They were happy to win. And God forbid, you know, the elitist Hollywood, you know, mumbled about their agent, you know. It's the same principle that I'm talking about. We have to reach out to one another. No. It's a good thing to turn around and shake hands with somebody and introduce yourself and look them in the eye. It's the most wonderful feeling. It's a connection. It's a fucking connection. You're not isolated. This is a disease of self-esteem, lack of self-esteem, and loneliness. And left, I don't know about you, but left to my own devices and I'm lonely, man, I can conjure up the most wicked scenarios. Wicked. That have no bearing in the truth at all. And that's what I'm trying to get to, is the truth today. And, you know, I consider myself absolutely blessed. I do consider myself blessed, but you know, I feel I'm blessing myself, in a sense. I don't think there's some external divine Charlton Heston up there with a gun in his hand, of course, up here, you know, blessing me. I don't feel that way. I feel the ultimate blessing is for yourself. Oh my God, you know, I'm not talking about masturbation right now. I'm talking about the love for yourself, the love, the embracing of yourself. I mean, when I first heard that and I said, you know, you've got to love your inner child and you've got to love it, and I would go, fuck off. But the more you know, the deeper I go into the program, the better it feels. The more action I take in the program, the better it feels. The more times I do the steps, the better it feels. The more times I reach out my hand, the better it feels. Right? I mean, is that like new information for you guys? You know, I'm only here to remind myself of what keeps me sober, and I'll tell you, it's done, right? I would say one last thing. Without you guys, I'm fucking lost. Okay? That's right.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with, and it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.